If it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. And if it's white, good night. These are the kind of bear safety strategy rhymes that I learned in elementary school growing up in Alaska. And because of that, it's easy to take for granted how much the wilds is right at our doorstep in this state. And that our relationship with our majestic lumbering pig dogs is something that is completely unique compared to the way that a lot of people grow up. But it's definitely a point of fascination for the rest of the world, which is why I'm so excited that today we are taking a look at Katmai, the Bears of Brooks River, set here in Alaska. Well, not here, I'm in Southeast, completely different region. However, it is awesome that a famed British war game studio like Osprey Games would take notice and bring us something from the 49th state. Bears, bears, and bears. In this two-player head-to-head game of area control and dominance, each player takes a thematically different, though mechanically identical, deck of bears in their color, shuffling and setting aside 2 at the beginning of each round. They must have ate a bit too much on the day before, then takes turns playing one of 2 bears in their hand face down to a river tile, revealing, drawing another card, and proceeding until 10 bears adorn either bank. Then, starting with the top of the river and working down, strength is compared tile by tile, and the player with the most dominance in each puts one of their tokens in a vacant space, marking victory goals set up at the beginning of the game based on arrangement, location features, or specific achievements. And unless someone scoops the victory by having 4 more beeples on the board than the other, rounds are played until someone's stock is down to 2 or less, and the most points after a quick 3 or 4 rounds wins. So I'm not going to lie, I went into this game with certain expectations, given that it was Osprey Games, the makers of some of my favorites, like the Undaunted series and The King is Dead, games that are really approachable and tight, but feel really robust at the same time. And Katmai is that writ small. At first I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh. It is leaner than I expected, but it does a lot to work within that framework to give it pizzazz and pressure that works especially synchronous with the theme. Each time you play a bear, it might just be a big old chonker or have some ability that could redirect your bear deployment, impact theirs, whatever. But point being, it's a display of power that the other player reacts to, either forgoing that tile for now or picking up the fight, which you, in turn, react to as well. And because you only have 2 cards in your hand at any given time to work with, and you don't know what the cards that are set aside from your deck or your opponent's deck for this round, you never have perfect information, but the decks are lean enough that you can develop a familiarity for possible outcomes. And something that I absolutely love and completely blew my mind with how obvious it is in retrospect is that first player is given to another player voluntarily in this game, because of course you want to be able to play after your opponent, seeing where they're starting to put their face down cards so you can react to that, either confronting them or sidestepping them. But first player also gives you priority in tiebreakers and a few other game effects, so it is a valuable resource to have at the same time. And this voluntary exchange that you can do at the beginning of any turn, so long as you started with the first player token, is just a beautiful slight mechanism that's emblematic of what Katmai does over and over and over again. I'm not saying this is an incredibly deep game or particularly revolutionary, but it's extremely savvy for how pick up and play it is. Simple mechanisms, lots of options, with strategic implications easily felt. It's also a knockout production-wise, from the charming illustrations to the ultra-concise box with exactly enough room that The King is Dead could only dream of having the confidence to pull off, to the thoughtful notes about the region, wildlife conservation, and indigenous heritage of the area. There are some points of friction. The scoring conditions aren't always clear on when they can be fulfilled, if it's 1 time per card or every time achieving that formation, and the resolution of certain abilities in conflict could have used a little bit more clarity. And this game, by way of being area control, will be more confrontational than some people will want out of their cute, light little bear game, and comes off a bit narrow without a sense of investment from one round to the next. But I think for the majority of people, it's going to hit that sweet spot somewhere in between, so long as you're looking for a tight, efficient, head-to-head two-player game without a lot of mechanical overhead. And as an Alaskan and as a gamer, Katmai does right by our big old buddies of the Brooks River, bringing your experience a little closer to our home. And that's our review. But let me know, what is your favorite game that represents some unique cultural aspect to you, either where you're from or where your heritage is, or the things that you're personally interested or invested in? Put it in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for supporting, thanks for being such an amazing community. You know that I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.